He is a god of the game.
Season 2, here we go. We are back, and so does the same old overseas batting collapses for Indian cricket. Where is the problem? Wait, let's blame IPL, as English pundits now have the 100 to blame their own horrendous show down under. The English Premier League has moved from a 4-team title race to a 3-team title race to a race amongst teams not to lose to Manchester City. Can Ancelotti take care of his unfinished business by winning La Liga? Milan teams fighting for Serie A glory, business as usual at Bundesliga, and can Djokovic ever play Grand Slam tennis again? Let's go!
Absolutely world class.
Hello and welcome back to Sports Chacha, guys. Season 2, Episode 1. I'm in a new city. Ishan has a new parental status. We have a new setup. We have a new logo. And Ishan, welcome back, bro. Good to see you.
Yeah, man, it's been so long. It's strange to say this. I actually missed you. I don't think that would have ever happened, but I missed more than anything. I missed talking about sports. It's been a month and a half hiatus for both of us. A lot of life changes, but I'm so excited to start off season 2. So much has happened. We're gonna just try our best to cover most of it, but so much to look forward to as well. So I'm really, excited and pumped to get season 2 started.
Yeah, man, a lot of things happened in the last 1.5 months. Ashes, India's tour of South Africa, drama within the Indian cricket team, 2 new IPL franchises announced, F1 season's crazy end, Djokovic getting deported out of Australia. Oh my god. But what we will do right now is we're not going to talk about everything that happened in the last 1.5 months, but we'll give you a short summary and our perspectives on what has happened. So we will start right away with, obviously, the Ashes. Ishan, being an Aussie fan, a hardcore Aussie fan, this has been a memorable Ashes.
Well, memorable, yes, but I think there were the usual Glenn McGrath, Ricky Ponting started off saying that it's going to be a whitewash, but my memory always served me as a very strong English team because they're so good in white ball cricket. What I failed to understand was that doesn't translate into a 5-day format. And boy, it did not translate into a 5-day format, right? I literally saw every single ball of this Ashes. It was obviously Test cricket at its best because, there was drama, although albeit one-sided, but it's always entertaining watching England and Australia play Test cricket. But so many heroes came out of it for Australia, people who have never heard of Scott Boland, who probably should retire right now. He has an average of 8. He has 16 test wickets in 2 test matches. It's an absurd stat. But, it was sad at the end. At 4-0, it should have been 5-0. If it wasn't for the rain in Sydney, it would have definitely been 5-0. I think even the Australian fans were felt a little embarrassed that how bad England were. Give you some stats. England, the next Ashes tour in Australia will be in 2025. By that time, it will be 14 years since England have got a result, have won a test match in Australia. Now,
Wow.
it's about 25 test matches that they have not reached 300 in an innings. It is scary how bad England's batting is right now because their bowlers did their bit. Mark Wood, my hat's off to that guy. He gave his heart out in both the Sydney test matches and especially in Hobart on a green pitch. I think if there's one takeaway England can have in this test series was Mark Wood and his determination. And the Australian fans duly applauded him off when the series ended. But, the Ashes started off with some drama. Tim Payne being, removed, stripped off his captaincy. Pat Cummins, it's been a really long time since a fast bowler was a captain of a test playing nation. Pat Cummins, what a player, meaning he's going to go down as one of the great fast bowlers of all time. He's young and he's doing brilliantly. And now he's a great captain and an Ashes winning captain. Great gesture, by the way, at the end with the Usman Khwaja part. I think we don't need to talk about it. People can just YouTube it. But amazing series. But I feel bad for England. They're going to be back to white ball cricket now before they tour West Indies, and they'll again be world beaters. But they really need to do some thinking about how they want to structure the test team, because their opening pair is weak. They don't have, Rory Burns. I don't know. Have you seen his style, Bala? Like, have you seen him bat? Like, it's like I thought Shivnarayan Chandrapal had a bad style, but this is like,
He set the tone for the Ashes, right? First delivery, he got bowled round the wicket of Mitchell Stark. I mean, that's how the entire series began. Now, going back to England, right? I mean, yes, Australia did excellent. We have, as you pointed out, Scott Boland, one of the star performers that came out of Australia. In fact, Australia, you can actually pick pretty much the entire squad. I don't remember seeing a single non-performing asset in that Australian squad. Everyone were brilliant. But let's get into the English team. I mean, you pointed out there has been more focus on the white ball cricket. England have actually been pretty good in white ball cricket. Obviously, they are the world champions, ODI world champions. They are pretty good in T20. They have invested a lot in their own 100 format, and yet they still complain their English players playing in IPL, and that is the reason why their test performances have been going down. There were some interesting points discussed. I was looking at Mark Butcher and Alistair Cook discussing about it. So one of the points that Mark Butcher brought in is that, see, they have England, we all know they have a well-established county cricket system. I mean, it's been there for almost 100 years, if I'm not wrong. If that country cannot produce quality test cricketers, then there is something fundamentally wrong with their system. So in terms of, let's say, batting, we have seen this happening with England in terms of losing a lot of wickets in heap, and this has happened in India also. There seems to be a tendency to go for shots much earlier. In fact, we had this problem with Indian cricket for a while. A lot of our Indian T20 players couldn't compete in the test arena because they were going for shots left, right, and center and losing their wicket. Is this something that you see England addressing in the near future, or this is going to continue for at least some time before they even get to where they want to be?
no, I think Michael Atherton made a very good point, and that really struck me. And I think that hit a chord of the true root of the problem, Joe root of the problem of the English team. Uh, the thing is that he said that England's strategy for a build up to the Ashes was, we need to build a squad for the Ashes. They don't look at the next series, they don't look at the next match. They're always building up to the Ashes. So what they do is that they're not selecting good players for each series. They're just trying to rest them for a series that is in the future. So what that happened, especially with COVID right now, is that none of them came with match practice. Johnny Bairstow, who's a great batsman, he had no practice. He had not batted for like 3 months before he was put into the squad in the second or third test match. And that shows when they're batting, right? Like, previously before COVID, before every Ashes test match, there was a warm-up game. So if players were out of form, they could bat themselves into form or into some kind of nick. With COVID happening, there's just a break. So all of those preparations that would have probably helped England a little were not there. But as you rightly said, focus has been solely on white ball cricket for a really long time in England. They've, in a way, tried to monetize more than what a BCCI does in how to, monetize the short format of the game with the 100, etc. But I think it also goes down to, their county game. Atherton made this point. County cricket now happens in the wrong season, where the pitches are actually, dead pitches. They're not the green, lush pitches where, actual county players are made. Once, because of the white ball cricket. So white ball cricket, that 100 has to happen when it doesn't rain. So that means the county cricket gets pushed to a time where it rains or it's not a very good weather to play cricket. So that means that the deprioritization has happened at a fundamental level for red ball cricket. And that is a problem.
Interesting.
And I think, Bala, have you seen Inside Edge, that show?
Yeah.
This actually happened with the England team. For example, Sky Sports did not bid for the Ashes this time as a broadcaster.
Wow.
Right? Now, BT Sport actually won the rights, and they are into a massive loss because most of the games didn't go into 5 days. If you can look back at the Inside Edge last season, right? They didn't go into 5 days. It was a whitewash. Viewership dropped because there was not too much drama. So now the actual problem that the ECB as well as Cricket Australia has is Ashes still a money-making series for them? Is it even worth having a 5 Test match Ashes series anymore? So those are the conversations happening at the back, and that's all gone down to how the England team and England board more than the team has deprioritized the long format of the game.
Yeah, very, very interesting points. And yeah, obviously now England Cricket Board has to go back to the drawing board and see what they can do to bring the Test cricket back into their plans. And we'll see how they are going to perform in the next Ashes. I think that's happening in 2024, if I'm not wrong, in England. Hopefully England can put up a better show and hopefully challenge Australia. And hopefully we have a much closer and a more entertaining Ashes than what happened this time.
So Bala, so I was watching I was supporting a team that won a one-sided series. The team you support, I think the build-up or the predictions were supposed to be the same, right? Because I think India went into South Africa for a test series as a favorite for the first time ever, I feel, because everyone knows the drama that has been happening with the South African Cricket Board. They struggled to put up a team, and the Indian cricket team went full strength. So you saw the series. Over to you. Tell me how that went.
Oh man, it was so disappointing. I mean, disappointing for many reasons. First reason, disappointing for Rahul Dravid. I mean, like how much I respect the man, how much I love the man. I really wanted this to be a statement victory for him. His first away series, his first major away series as a coach. So I really wanted him or the team to perform really well. Started off really well. First test went according to the plan. But the problem is with the team selection. I mean, we are in the WhatsApp group. I've been harping about Ajinkya Rahane right from day one. This has been a mistake to first of all take him there and to even start him, and he ended up playing all the 3 games. He scored 45 runs. Is that the benchmark right now to be a part of the starting 11 of the Indian cricket team? I don't know. I really don't know what is the benchmark right now. Think about players like Shubman Gill, Shreyas Iyer, who are waiting on the sideline to perform. What will they think? How bad their morale will be? Now, putting that aside, batting definitely was a massive problem. Yeah.
One point you made in the WhatsApp group, which I think is more important than how Rahane performed, is Rahane used to be the key peg in terms of breaking the momentum for the Indian squad. His wicket always happened immediately after a wicket fell because he didn't contribute anything. So the moment India got into some momentum, because of 2 quick wickets, the momentum used to switch back. So I just wanted to add that point. You had made this previously, so I thought this is an important thing. So yeah, go ahead.
Exactly, and that's what happened in the last test also. There were times where we were actually looking to score good, we were looking to set up a good total, and then those 2 quick wickets picked us back. Now, coming back to the South African team, as you said, this was easily one of the, if not, not one of the, I can clearly say the weakest South African test team that we have played against, at least in South Africa, ever since the 1990 series. Very inexperienced bowling attack. I think KGB is the only, Rabada is the only experienced bowler. But I was extremely impressed with Jansen. Tall, lanky. He reminded me of Bruce Reid. I don't know how many young listeners will remember Bruce Reid. He reminded me of Bruce Reid. Brilliant bowling by him. And very well supported by Olivier. I forgot his name. Olivier, I believe. Olivier, and who's that 4th seamer? Ngidi. My God, Lungi Ngidi. How did I forget him? So yeah, pretty much. Obviously, if you look at the pace attack, like we had Bumrah, Shami, Siraj, and Thakur, but then their bowling definitely performed well. And it also goes to show how much the bowlers have bailed us over the last 1.5 years. Yes, we have performed really well outside India, Australia, England. We have done it so very well. But if you look at their victories, most of the times the lower order has batted out of their skin to save us the game. And this has kind of exposed the top order's failings in the last 1.5 years. Virat Kohli again showed brilliance in terms of that first innings third test match, first innings, he was extremely good. It was one of the most disciplined innings I've seen him play in test. But yeah, eventually didn't work out for us. And the drama behind it, man. Now he's off being the test keeper. Even before the series started, Rohit Sharma not playing the test, Virat Kohli not playing the ODIs. I'm not sure like why this happens around Rahul Dravid. I don't know. When he became the captain, there were too much drama. Now when he's the coach, there is too much drama. Hopefully this all gets sorted out, and hopefully in the next series, from next season onwards, like we have a proper team and we challenge for the Test Championship again.
Has the new Test captain been announced?
Not yet, not yet. There's been a lot of speculation going around. The names that have been thrown in the hat are Rohit Sharma, KL Rahul. Some are suggesting even Rishabh Pant, or some are suggesting like keep Rishabh Pant as a vice captain and under a temporary captain, groom him, and then like handed over the captaincy to him, like how they did with Kumble and Dhoni. Kumble was the captain for a year and a half, and then Dhoni took over the reins. So that could be a possible option. Ashwin is a possible option, but again, Ashwin had a very horrible series, so I'm not sure. The problem right now with the captain is there is no performer. There is no single performer other than probably Bumrah is probably the only standout performer. Other than him, I really don't see any player who came out top out of this 3-match series.
Bala, I think one person, before I ask you a question, one person who I think deserves a lot of credit is Peterson from South Africa.
Yes.
Nobody had ever heard of him. The only Peterson I knew was Kevin, who I didn't particularly like because he used to thrash Australia. But he played an unbelievable series, especially in the finale, the last innings, second innings. A target of 200 was not easy, but they made it look very easy. And that was all thanks to him. But question for you, Bala, before we move on. What do you think about the futures of Rahane and Pujara? Pujara has been in a very bad patch for a really long time right now. What do you think happens to them? Can we even replace the likes of a Pujara, or just the symbolism of having Pujara is more important than the value?
I mean, Pujara does bring in a certain value. I mean, he's a specialist number 3 batsman, and number 3 is a very, very special and a crucial role, especially when it comes to Test cricket. So that's why Pujara might get one other chance, probably one extra series or one extra match. But again, if he doesn't perform, then the team management has to take strong decisions and kick him out. Because unless you give someone a chance, you will never know whether you're going to get another very good quality number 3 batsman. And we do have good quality players. Unless you put them in the ring, unless you give them the opportunity, we'll never know how good they'll come out. Maybe we'll find a great number 3 in Shubman Gill. Who knows? We'll never know. Maybe we'll find an excellent number 6 in Hanuma Vihari. I mean, there are talents, so we'll probably have to give them the opportunity to see if they can come good. So that's great. But apart from these two series, one excellent series that happened down under, not in Australia, but a country right next to Australia, the home of the World Test Champions. What a surprise series it was. What a great series, in fact. It was the first time Amazon actually live telecasted a cricket series. Bangladesh, who would have thought Bangladesh to defeat New Zealand in New Zealand? I couldn't catch the live action, but I saw the highlights. Pretty inspiring performance.
Yeah, and it was not a easy game. It was not like New Zealand collapsed and Bangladesh took advantage, bowled them out for two innings. The New Zealand team, which is commendable for a Bangladeshi team, and a lot of new faces in the Bangladeshi team as well. The people we know, Shakib was not there. There were new faces, Shadab and all were there, but I think great. About bloody time, I would say. They've been in this, they only show up at World Cups generally to show, hey, we are there to create upset, but otherwise they are pretty silent in the test scenario. So it was a great result for them, and it was a full strength New Zealand squad, so no excuses there as well. But then New Zealand showed their class in the remaining matches. But I think the entire series, the finale, was all about the man himself, Mr. Ross Taylor. What a final test match, man! Did you see it? Did you catch? Oh my days!
Amazing. The final delivery, the final wicket. What an end to an outstanding career. Easily one of the greatest New Zealand player. I mean, New Zealand have produced some real gems of cricketers. I mean, Ross Taylor will definitely be amongst the top. Great servant to the game. Very nice person. I mean, you generally see his interviews, his on-field behavior. I mean, New Zealand team in general have set up a lot of standards in terms of in terms of being gentlemen in the game. So yeah, really happy for Ross Taylor. Great career. Won the Test Championship. Played a very important role in winning the Test Championship for New Zealand.
But if New Zealand were an IPL team, they would still be bottom of the Fair Play Award. Because nobody knows how the Fair Play Award points goes. In the end, Mukesh Ambani wins.
Or CSK. Most of the time CSK. So yeah, good job Bangladesh, good job New Zealand for giving us a great test series to watch. Now there's another major event happening, guys. It's the Under 19 Cricket World Cup. We all know India have been performing really well over the last 3 editions of the Under 19 World Cup. We reached all 3 finals, won 1, lost 2. And yeah, that's happening right now. Many teams have played 2 games, some teams have played 1 game. So it's on Hotstar, Star Sports. So watch out for it. Lots of new talents, lots of new stars will come out of this Under 19 World Cup. So yeah, that's about it, guys. That's about it for the cricket action. Now, in the next section, we will see what has happened in the world of European football.
Absolutely world class.
Welcome back to Sports Charcha. It is time for European football, and as usual, we will start with EPL. Now, Ishan, during the beginning of the season, we were all talking about how this season is going to be one of the closely fought season, a 4-way competition between Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester City, Manchester United, and by about game week 10, we all went, oh, it's going to be a 3-team race between Liverpool, City and Chelsea. Now, after almost 18-19 games, I don't see a race at all, and City are absolutely going to walk away with the league once again.
Oh my God! I think, wow, man! I have no idea what's going on in the Premier League other than Man City, because they're just doing Man City things very consistently. And since we did our last podcast, we've seen an unbelievably consistent Chelsea. Now we are seeing an unbelievably consistently bad Chelsea. We've seen a consistently bad Manchester United. We've seen a resurgence of Arsenal, who are probably playing the best football they have in many years. Arteta has finally got things going. They actually might be in a serious shot for a top 4. You never know. We saw West Ham. Both of us were very excited with West Ham playing well when we last spoke about it, and they're pretty low now. Tottenham under Conte have become much better. So for me, I don't know who the top 4 will be by the end of the season. I know City is going to win it. I'm pretty sure. Liverpool and Chelsea will be the 1 and the 2 and 3. The 4, I am putting my money on it. It's not going to be Manchester United.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much everyone's guess too. But then we'll still don't know Manchester United's quality, what will come through. Pogba is back in training, so hopefully that will probably create the necessary spark for the team to move forward. But yeah, number 4 is pretty much a great race. In fact, you have West Ham, Arsenal, Tottenham, United. All these 4 teams are pretty much shooing for the 4th spot. Tottenham again under Conte. I mean, last time when we spoke, Conte wasn't in charge. I think right now Conte is in charge. Tottenham have shown some steel in their performance. Obviously, they are not as consistent as Conte want them to be, but then they will get there. They will reach there. Now, apart from the top 3 teams, which team you think have actually underperformed, or which player you think have actually underperformed, which we thought, I mean, to remind you, we said Lukaku is probably one of the signings of the season, and that's the way it started also. He started off pretty brilliant, but as it stands right now, there's a lot of problem on and off field problems. We all know that. So yeah, when it comes to teams and when it comes to players who have caught your attention and who you think have underperformed.
If you were a lawyer, Bala, you would have been, what you said right now would be inadmissible in court. You led me on to say Lukaku. You asked me a question and then I partially answered it. But no, but you're right completely. It's that, both of us know this very well. It's that second Chelsea season with the manager who won everything in the first. They go through this, phase where they can't win anything. And Lukaku is the face of this problem right now and it's all his own doing. He, a couple of weeks ago, he had this unnecessary interview with an Italian newspaper. I think it was Gazzetta dello Sport, where
Sky Sports. No, it was Sky
it
Sports.
was Sky Sports.
Sky Sports Italy. Sky Sports Italy.
Where he basically was, pining for a return to Inter Milan and how life there was amazing, how Lautaro Martinez is his, Casanova in a way. But it was so badly timed because he was just recovering from an injury. Tuchel was still not putting him in the squad. It just created unnecessary friction, which was not right, because if you're a 100 plus million pound striker who's not performed to that limit, the last thing you need to do is talk too much. Just, shut up and drive in a way, right? Which has not happened. So it's all, triggered a huge problem for Chelsea in terms of their results. Obviously, they just, beat Spurs in the Carabao, or was it the Carabao Cup?
Carabao Cup.
Yeah, semi-finals. So they're in the finals there, but, they were so meek against City this weekend in the league, which basically handed City the title. It was such a disappointing performance. So yeah, Lukaku, the entire United team, I would say, Rafael Varane, Jadon Sancho. It's going to be very unfair for me to say Ronaldo, because he's done everything he can at his age. So I will not say Ronaldo underperformed, but I would say Sancho for sure has been very poor. Then I would say teams, Everton.
Yeah.
What has happened to Everton? Wow. Rafa Benitez, by the way, newsflash, is already gone.
Yeah.
He was sacked, I think, a couple of days ago. It's the mid-table is pretty poor this time in the Premier League. This is not the usual Premier League we've seen this season with COVID, etc. There's a huge disparity in quality I'm seeing. Suddenly after the West Hams, after the 6th and 7th, you see a serious drop. Like Leeds United is crap. Like this season, Bielsa has completely lost the plot. They won their game right now with West Ham, but they're not a very good team anymore. So it's a lot of disappointments. But I would say the United team and Lukaku would be my highlights.
Great. I mean, pretty much my same picks, but I'll have to add a couple of more teams. I'll probably say Leicester hasn't performed the way they have in the last 2 seasons. So there's a drop in quality in Leicester also. But to be fair to some other teams like Leeds, etc., they had a lot of injuries. Everton had a few key injuries, but still, with the team they have, they should not be in 16th position. They should not be 5-6 points away from the relegation scrap. So definitely not a place where they should be. Rafa Benitez was pretty much touted to be one of the early managers to get sacked. It's a surprise that he is the 5th or the 6th manager to be sacked, whether he should have been sacked a long time ago. But yeah, some of the teams have done pretty well also. Wolves started off pretty slowly, but now they are picking up. They are becoming a very good team, and Wolves in the last 2-3 seasons under Nuno and now under Bruno Lage have really impressed. I mean, at least I was personally impressed with Wolves. Steven Gerrard has started really well. He's showing a lot of signs of a good manager.
Coutinho.
We will get to Barcelona when we get to La Liga, but what a relief that one player has left Barcelona. I mean, I'm happy for Coutinho himself. He was completely lost at Barcelona. At least he came to Aston Villa and hopefully found his magical touch, and hopefully has a better career in the next 4-5 years. So yeah, that's pretty much the season right now, guys. I mean, top 4 as we discussed. Man City, I mean, you can...
For you, City is winning it?
City's winning it. Pretty much you can very well hand over the trophy to them. I mean, I don't see, Liverpool can get closer. Even if they win the match in hand, they'll probably can get closer. But I don't see City losing 8 points. I mean, that is not happening. I don't think that's happening at all. I mean, City, they have cracked this Christmas season brilliantly. In the last 3-4 seasons, in fact, all the seasons when they have won the title, this is the time where they actually put the pressure on the pedal. This is when they actually go on a run, 12 match, 15 match, 20 match run, where teams actually slack off due to the number of games, due to the fixture pile up. A lot of teams slack off, but this is where City actually put the pressure on the pedal and go on this victory run. So City pretty much winning. Liverpool, Chelsea, you can pick either or. It's just a coin toss between Liverpool and Chelsea, who could be second and third. And pretty much Liverpool and Chelsea are also, in my opinion, they have kind of given up on the league and started focusing on the cups and the FA Cups and the Champions League. Fourth, yes, there is definitely a very, very good race for the fourth position. I mean, that's something that I'm totally looking forward to. We have 4 really good teams who are fighting for it. And then the relegation scrap, which is always fun to watch, as long as your team is not fighting in the relegation scrap. Hopefully, all these games get played. Yeah, I mean, there's so many postponements happening in the last 2-3 weeks. It's a little disappointing. The North London derby got postponed. And do you really think teams are postponing games because of COVID? Because I personally feel some teams are misusing it.
No. The Premier League they've been touted as people who are like the league that has been constantly misusing this leverage. Because UEFA's rule and a lot of the leagues have their own rules, says that if you have 11 players to field, you play a game. So if you look at the Serie A, you look at the LaLiga, it's not like there's no COVID in those countries. They have been very strict. Like if you remember, there was one Barca game where they literally fielded half a youth team, but they played, and that's full respect. Because if you're a big club and the Premier League, they're rich, they have so many players like in their squad list. Of course, they can put up a squad. So I think it's a lot of excuse because they have the amount of broadcasting rights they have. I think it's tied down to that. But yeah, like a North London derby getting skipped when actually it matters. 10 games down the line where Tottenham or Arsenal don't have a shot for a top 4, this game might not be so interesting.
That's true.
So, all those things put into context, I think it's a bad move by the Premier League authorities. They should take cue from the other European leagues.
Great. Guys, enough of EPL. Let's move on to La Liga. There is a slight title race happening. Real Madrid definitely on top. They are fresh after winning the Supercopa, their second Supercopa in the last 3 years. In fact, the second new format Supercopa, I would say, happened at Saudi Arabia. Don't ask why. They defeated Athletic Club in the finals 2-0. They defeated Barcelona, the semi-finals 3-2. But the league, they have a 5-point lead, and the second team is Sevilla, who's actually performing really well. Well, they lost the Copa del Rey game against Betis, which is a drama in itself, and they also got knocked out of the Champions League. Well, they are in their favorite league. They are in Europa League, which they love. But yeah, that is, from Sevilla's point of view, it is a failure, but they are a shoe-in when it comes to the league title. They have one game in hand, which they are playing tonight. They're playing against Valencia, if I'm not wrong. And they have their head-to-head game against Real Madrid. So do you see a title race, or is this the usual Sevilla who do very well in the first half, but towards the end they fade off?
So I don't want to... I'm very superstitious about Real Madrid and jinxing anything, so I'm not going to say anything. But I think Real Madrid win when it matters. And if you see in the last couple of months, every single tough game they've had, they've won. They've lost to the likes of Espanyol and Cadiz, which are like, or Getafe as well in the first game of 2022, right? Like anomalies, I would say. But when Real Madrid are playing Sevilla, they played Sevilla a month and a half ago, they beat Sevilla. All the competitors they played, they went into I think there was a 10-match streak where they played the entire top 5 of the league, and they beat all of them. So this is if you look at Ancelotti's squad that he puts up for these big games, all the players who have left are the only players missing from the squad of the Decima. It's Benzema, Modric, Cruz, Casemiro, Carvajal, Courtois, everyone who's not there has just left. They don't play for Real Madrid anymore, barring Marcelo. You've seen a resurgence of Vinicius, who for me right now is in the top three best players in the world right now in terms of form.
True.
What
True.
I don't know what Ancelotti has done to Vinicius, because last year he could not shoot, and this year he cannot stop scoring, and he's scoring great goals, like great finishes. Benzema has been Benzema. Like, there was a stat that Benzema and Vinicius combined have scored more goals than Barcelona this season. Uh, so and so it's been a great season for Madrid, but it's also been a very poor season for the likes of Atletico Madrid and obviously Barcelona, where I still don't consider Sevilla a title contender, because in my mind I'm always worried, like when Barca wins a game, I'm like, fuck, what the point difference has reduced, but then I look at the table, it's a match like 18 points. So it's a psychological thing. I hope Sevilla have the same problem I do, and they screw up in midway. But yeah, it's been interesting. It's we are the favorites without a doubt, but anything can happen. But Bala, let's move on to your club. Last time we spoke, Javi Hernandez was touted to become Barcelona manager. He has now not only become manager, his honeymoon period at Barcelona is over. But I feel, and what do you think about it? The media is so in love with Xavi that even a loss with Real Madrid was treated like a victory in the Catalonian newspapers everywhere, because they scored 2 goals against the lead best team in Spain. What do you think about Barcelona right now?
Well, see, it's about expectations versus reality, because nobody expected Barcelona to go even and compete against Real. So the fact that they dragged that game to extra time and lost it in extra time was a positive. Obviously, a loss is a loss at any point. I mean, loss is a loss. There is no argument there. But yeah, the way they performed, the performance was better. So that's why probably the Catalan media was very positive. And obviously, they all love Xavi. Xavi is their star boy. So obviously the criticism on Xavi will be very less, and everyone expected that also. When Xavi came in, pretty much every part of the Catalan media and the Spanish media kind of laid down the rules that Xavi will be given time. It won't be right to judge him based on only this season's performance. And also they have done some decent business. They were able to send Philippe Coutinho on a loan to Aston Villa. They were able to re-sign Samuel Umtiti, revise his contract, who is again injured, will again miss about pretty much the rest of the season. So they were able to sign Ferran Torres and register. So now when it comes to Barcelona right now, it's not just only signing players, it's signing and registering players. So they were able to.
I must say, Barcelona's taught me a lot about how transfers work, in the last couple of years. I didn't know about this registration of players and all of this. It's all thanks to Barcelona. I've learned all of this.
The pretty much half of Spanish football fans have understood how football finances work thanks to Barcelona in the last 1.5 years. Like 1.5 billion debt. How can they sign Haaland?
I think it will be a B school case study.
100%.
It will be a B school case
100% case study. It's a case study that every B school should have on how not to run a sports club, a sports business. It should be a mandatory case study. So yeah. So I would say where Barcelona are right now, there's a slight improvement, but again, definitely not where they want to be. But when it comes to this season's objectives, they are still in line. Top 4 is still something that they can achieve. They're just 2 points up. Yeah, in fact, 1 point away from top 4. Atletico Madrid, as you pointed out, having a terrible season. Pretty much they have the best squad, but they are having a terrible season. My opinion, the penultimate season for Simeone, maybe this season, maybe one more season, I think he'll be gone after it. Betis,
I think his aura is fading.
Yeah.
Aura is fading.
Yeah, pretty much it's going bad for him. Betis, they are the surprise factor of this entire season. They are doing really well. Pellegrini showing once again to the entire world that he is not done yet. Sociedad, they have been consistently doing good. Rayo Vallecano, from nowhere, they have been exceptional. In fact, they have the best home form in all of the top 5 European leagues. Rayo Vallecano. It's not Real Madrid. It's not Bayern Munich. It's Rayo Vallecano. They have the best home form.
It's Falcao.
It's Falcao, exactly.
And you know who's one of the most improved players in La Liga this season? Obviously, I'm not looking at Vinicius. Hector Bellerin.
Oh, Hector Bellerin. He has done really well. I mean, Arsenal fans might have different opinion about it, but yeah, Bellerin has done really well for Betis. So yeah, that's where we are right now with La Liga, guys. Real Madrid on top with 49 points. Sevilla with a game in hand, 44 points. They are playing Valencia on Wednesday night, Thursday, early morning Indian time. Betis third, Atletico fourth, Sociedad fifth, and Barcelona sixth. So hopefully we will see a much tighter race for 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 and 2 are pretty much sorted. So hopefully we'll see a title race and a 3, 4, 5, 6 race in La Liga. So enough of La Liga, enough of EPL. Let's move on to Serie A, where there is an excellent title race going on. When we spoke last time, Napoli was pretty much having a great form and they had a few losses, but right now they are in third. The toppers are Inter Milan. How impressed are you with Inzaghi? I had my doubts, but man, he is brilliant.
What he has done to that squad is very difficult, and I've realized if it's facts. And so any team that Conte leaves goes into this phase of disaster post is similar to Mourinho, because they can completely break a squad. But what Simone Inzaghi has done is made the Inter side better after losing almost two of their best players under Conte, Ashraf Hakimi and Lukaku, as well as if you want to count Eriksen, right? So the 3 very important players for Inter, and they're now a better squad because they now win in multiple ways. Conte had one specific style of winning. Simone Inzaghi understands the opponent and can beat you accordingly. Yes, their form in the Champions League is not very good. But in the Serie A, they have been very consistent. They win the big games. They've been doing that consistently, and they've been doing that very well. You know, Edin Dzeko, when will he retire? I don't know. Like he's doing so well. Lautaro Martinez is amazing, and then they've got this Bastoni guy, man. Like, have you seen Bastoni play? He reminds me of the age-old Italian, behemoth defenders who can score.
Yeah, he's amazing. Super base.
He's like Baresi, if you remember.
He's one of Conte's gems. Like, Conte actually developed Bastoni. Inter, as you said, I mean, some of the smart signings, you rightly pointed out that they lost 3 of their best players. I mean, Hakimi, Eriksen and Lukaku. And look at the replacements. They bought Denzel Dumfries, a very smart signing. Edin Dzeko, at that time, a lot of people had a lot of doubts. He's a spend force. Why are you signing a 35-year-old striker to replace hot Lukaku? But Dzeko has scored, I think, more goals than Lukaku in this season. I mean, if you look at Lukaku for Chelsea and Dzeko for Inter, Çalhanoğlu, what a smart signing from Milan, from AC Milan to Inter Milan. Again, he has done pretty well. So Inter Milan they pretty much are on, I mean, they're on top right now. They're 2 points away from AC Milan, whom we'll talk about, who are again impressing. I mean, I'm pretty impressed with AC Milan also. Unfortunately, they lost their game against Spezia yesterday. I mean, against a run of play. But yeah, Inter, at this point of time, they are my favorites, but not far behind AC Milan, who have found this new lease of life. Zlatan once again showing what a true leader he is. He's again talking about Dzeko. We don't know when is he going to retire. Zlatan, I don't know when is he going to retire. He's still scoring goals for them. And did you see the game yesterday? The referee made a horrible mistake. So he blew the whistle for a foul. He didn't play advantage. And by the time he blew the whistle, a second after he blew the whistle, Milan actually scored the goal. So the goal got chalked off. And the reaction was so brilliant. Like, Theo Hernandez literally held the referee's face, and he was going like, what what the fuck did you just do? But to be fair to the referee, he held his hand up and he said, like, I made a mistake, I'm sorry. But yeah, on the other side, Spezia went and scored. So Milan, let's get to Milan right now. Do you think they can challenge or they'll fall short? Because they don't have, remember, they don't have Champions League, they don't have Europa League, they have no European action.
No, I'm very confident that they can challenge because they have a great squad. It's not just Zlatan. They've got, Kessie, who's probably the most sought after midfielders right now in Europe in terms of defensive midfield. They've got a really good squad in terms of, Theo Hernandez. They've got, what's it called?
Brahim.
Who's that other forward? Not Brahim. Rafael Leao.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's a talent, man.
He's a talent, right?
Talent.
And he was always like prospect, but this year he's been playing and he's actually been scoring quite a lot of goals. So they've got a squad going on, and they, as you said, they don't have the pressure of other tournaments, other cups. So their full focus is Serie A, which is not going to be like Inter, who I think have Europa League to think about. So I think they will challenge. Inter will still be favorites for me, but AC Milan will be very close this season. And because Juventus will not be breathing down anyone's neck this season, I think it will give them more room to breathe and actually play and play with at ease.
So there is an interesting race going on between 3, 4, 5. I mean, Napoli, we can still have a shoe in for the second spot. Insigne, I mean, he will be gone after this season. He is going to Toronto FC. That's public news right now. That's public news right now. Atalanta, Juve are fighting for the 4th spot. But Roma, I thought like Mourinho still has one final shot, but I think it's done. I mean, Serie A has become so weird right now, where Atalanta and Inter are producing 0-0 draws, whereas a Mourinho and Allegri game was 3-4.
But let's talk about that game. That game, I think, was the best game of the season. Like, wow, yeah. I swear to God, I saw that game. Unbelievable. Like, and you're completely right. Who would have thought an Allegri versus Mourinho would be a 4-3? Like, no way in hell, right? But I feel Mourinho's like a bad stock trader. He joins teams at the wrong time, He joined Roma when the Serie A is being resurgent and every team is really strong now, right? It's not when Roma, Inter and Juventus were the only 3 teams when Milan sucked. So I think it's done for him. I think he just needs a national team job. I think that's his next foray. He's not going to be looking into clubs after this. He might last this season, might do another season with Roma basis the results, but it's not going to go for him. So also, let me talk about what do you think when we last spoke, Juventus were bad, like really bad. And we both said that Allegri has always done this. But let's be very honest, they've not become very good. They're still pretty bad.
Yeah, they are bad. But then Dybala has actually kind of come into some kind of form when there is contract talks happening. Like, you will definitely see Dybala performing really well on the field. So they are able to.
Dybala has been supposed to leave Juventus for the last 5-6 years. Every transfer season.
Yeah. He was supposed to go to Barcelona. He was supposed to go to Tottenham. He was supposed to go to Bayern. He was supposed to go to Manchester United. Like, he's been in Juventus forever and looks like he may sign a new deal with Juventus again. But coming back to Juventus, they are able to find some results. They are able to string some results, like the one against Roma. Being 3-1 down, they were able to get back and win 4-3. But their biggest loss of the season has to be Chiesa's injury. Not just Juventus' loss, it's Italy's loss also, because they might be playing Portugal in their World Cup playoffs. And Chiesa, I mean, we all know how important he is and how crucial his injury is going to affect Juve's chances of achieving top 4 and also in Champions League. So best of luck for Juve, hopefully.
I don't think it's confirmed. It's Italy versus Portugal playoff.
So they have a semi-final and a final. So Italy and Portugal are in the same path. So Portugal are playing Turkey and Italy are playing North Macedonia. So if they both win their respective games, they'll be playing each other. And this time it's not a 2-legged game. It's one leg. It's one game, one leg. So
Knockout.
yeah, it's a direct knockout. So anything can happen. So as I was saying, Chiesa, such a crucial figure for Italy and for Juve. So hopefully Juve can find some other inspiration from some other player and pose a very good top 4 fight. So that is it for Serie A. Inter right now on top, AC Milan second, Napoli third, and Atalanta on fourth. Now Bundesliga, nothing much has changed. It's Bayern still all the way. In fact, just an update, guys. Lewandowski deservingly won the FIFA Men's Best Player of the Year for the second consecutive year. I mean, obviously, there is no surprise there. This man has been in amazing form. Again, 20 goals, 22 goals in 18 games or something like that. I mean, he's a machine, man. He's just a machine.
But there is a machine that is coming up in Italy, Dusan Vlahovic,
yes,
who's got an unbelievable scoring record at Fiorentina. But the one thing which really pissed me off with the best awards is that in the best 11 of the year, Benzema was not in the squad.
Yeah, Benzema.
And I could not believe how you cannot have Benzema
and Salah
not in the squad.
And Salah was also not there.
Yeah, and yeah, so it depends. You're going with Ralph Rangnick's formation for the best 11. Then I understand, because even with that team, you'll probably lose.
You saw the formation. It's 3-3-4.
No, 4-2-2-2.
Okay. See, I thought like 3-3-4 because they had Messi, Ronaldo, Haaland, and Lewandowski.
Oh, for that, I thought you were talking about Rangnick's formation.
No, even in the women's best 11, there was no Barcelona player. Like, how come you can have?
What?
There was no Barcelona. There was not a single Barcelona player. But in the final top 3 best players, there were 2 Barcelona players. I don't understand this logic of FIFA Pro Best 11. But anyways, going back to Bundesliga, Dortmund and Bayern are easily the top 2. I mean, Dortmund has like a minor chance. No, it's not happening.
No chance. Bayern have no chance. Dortmund have no chance. But the only game Bayern loses is against Borussia Mönchengladbach. Otherwise, they don't lose anything. Every season, this is the same case. Other than Erling Haaland, there's nothing to notice about Dortmund because their defense is non-existent. So it's Bayern's league. It's Bayern's world. We all live in it in a way. They can do what they want. Nothing much to talk about Bundesliga. Nothing much has changed since we last spoke as well. Bayern been winning.
Yeah.
And Lewandowski scores.
Yeah, and the top 2 are pretty much way above the rest. Bayern on 46 points, Dortmund on 40 points. And there is an interesting fight for the 3rd and 4th position, which if you are a hardcore fan of Bundesliga, you can follow. There's Leverkusen, Hoffenheim, Union Berlin. They're all are in that fight. Leverkusen, again, as usual, have a lot of bright young talent who will move on to bigger clubs in another 1 or 2 years. So that is, again, as Ishan was pointing out, it's business as usual in Bundesliga right now.
Yeah.
And Liga, I really don't want to discuss much about Liga. PSG pretty much shoe in there, like I think 10, 15, I don't know, 100 points. They'll probably wrap the league up in another 5-6 games. The one highlight in Liga, at least for PSG, is Sergio Ramos finally played a game for PSG. I think he came in as a sub, I don't remember, but I think he did play a game for PSG.
I want to say something. The one thing which has brought this heat to normalcy is that Sergio Ramos got a red card as well.
Oh, yeah.
Meaning everything is...
Yeah.
So, but I think it's been... is this probably the lowest scoring Messi season since both of, we've known each other?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
I barely heard him score.
Yeah. He's got 1 goal in Liga so far. 1 goal. That has never happened. This has never happened.
And he started practically every game.
Yeah, pretty much started every game. Initially he didn't play a few games, but then he started a lot of games. And then in the last 3-4 weeks he hasn't started because of COVID. But yeah, it's by far the worst goal scoring season for Messi. So that's not a surprise. Great, guys. So that's about it for all the European football action. Champions League draws have been made. So we will have Champions League somewhere in the February time. AFCON is going on. Pretty interesting.
Champions League draws were made twice.
Oh, yeah, that's also right. Another drama which we missed, Champions League draw made twice. Oh, that's a whole, we can do a separate episode on this Champions League draws. So that's happening in February. AFCON is going on, the African Cup of Nations. Lot of good games. I mean, obviously, Indian viewers can't watch those games. None of them are telecasted live. So we will come back again next week and talk about all the rest of the football action and other action. Now, next section, we will do a quick speed point section and we'll wrap it up because we have taken a lot of your time.
Absolutely world class.
Welcome back to Sports Charcha, guys. We are in the speed point section where we will start with the Australian Open drama. Novak Djokovic, or should we say Novak's Djokovic, has been finally deported. Guys, because this is an audio medium, you can't see Ishan's reaction to my Novak's joke. For those who know Ishan, he just gave me "you are dead to me" look. So yeah, Novak Djokovic has finally been deported out of Australia. So, if, Ishan, correct me wrong, he can't play the next Australian Open also, right?
So they say, but obviously Djokovic's legal team is now taking this matter to court. And the other new update which happened today is that Roland Garros has also banned Novak Djokovic unless he shows his vaccination certificate, which is the origin of the problem at the Australian Open. I don't know what to say. We're not going to talk too much about it, but I'm on the fence on this because I'm not a Novak Djokovic fan and he doesn't do himself any favors by doing all of this. But meaning, should we or not for celebrities?
It's very silly. To me, it's very silly because as a country, they have a law and I'm fine with the Australian government and the Australian authorities taking a strong action against it. I don't have a problem. But yeah, as Ishan pointed out, that's where the problem is. Djokovic is not vaccinated and doesn't want to get vaccinated. That is one problem. And another problem is he tested positive, yet he attended a public event. So that added more problems to his case and eventually he got deported. So Australian Open have started. It's been 2 days and as we all know, like every other Grand Slam, the real action begins from the second week onwards. So we will bring you all the updates as the tournament move along. Alright, let's move on to NBA. We have a significant number of games being played. There's still a large portion of the season yet to be completed. But where we are right now, Ishan, in terms of the favorites, in terms of players, what's happening?
So I'm going to give you a quick gist. A lot of things have happened, obviously, because, there's so many games in the NBA season. We are almost at the midway before the All-Star break. On the Eastern Conference, we've seen the 76ers come up with all the drama they had at the initial start of the season with Ben Simmons saying that he won't play because he has mental health issues, to now being top of the Eastern Conference, which is great. The Bucks are doing well as well. But on the Western Conference, you've seen the resurgence of the Golden State Warriors, and I called it at the beginning of the season, with Steph Curry back into form and the way their team is structured. And Klay Thompson has returned after 2 years out from an ACL injury. So now the Splash Brothers are back. It's amazing. The Lakers still suck, unfortunately. They're an aging squad, but, LeBron James is LeBron James. He's going to get the Lakers somehow into the playoffs, and then the Lakers in the playoffs is a different team. So, quick highlights. I'm going to do more detailed analysis. Upsets, great players, MVP candidates. There are too many things to talk about for the NBA. We'll do that in the next episode when we have some time.
Lakshya Sen has won the Indian Open badminton men's singles title, whereas Chirag Shetty and Satvik Sairaj won the men's doubles championship. So congratulations, guys. Wonderful achievement. PV Sindhu unfortunately missed out. She lost in the semi-finals. So the next tournament is started, the Syed Modi International. So all badminton fans, watch out for that. Alright, guys, that's about it for season 2, episode 1. Thank you very much for listening, guys. We had fun recording it. Hope you had fun listening to it. And hopefully, from the next episode onwards, we'll bring a more shorter version, a more concise version. Obviously, this was a longer one because we ourselves had a lot to catch up in terms of what happened in the last 1.5 months. Thank you very much, Ishan, for staying up so late in spite of all the things that are happening around in your life, and good to see you again, man. And thank you very much to all the listeners. We will see you next week, and until then, it's bye from Bala
and bye from Ishan, guys. See you next week.
Thank you everyone for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, please make sure you hit the subscribe button, and also please, like we are literally begging, to rate our podcast on whichever app you are listening to. It not only helps us, but also helps new listeners to find our podcast easily. You can also reach out to us on Twitter and Instagram @SportsCharcha. A big shout out to the Jam Room Audio for our theme music. You can follow the Jam Room on Facebook @the Jam Room Audio. Bye!